Good evening and welcome to the special edition of Cronkite News on Arizona PBS. I'm Stephanie Shields. Thank you for joining us. Cronkite News is committed to covering justice news across the state. Tonight, a look back on stories including what it takes physically to become a police officer to how seniors can avoid ID theft. 6 years ago, Phoenix police officer Craig Tiger was involved in a situation in which he shot and killed a suspect. The incident left him with PTSD, and he would later take his own life. Today, the governor signed a law in Officer Tiger's name. As Amanda Mason reports, it's a measure to help first responders after they suffer a traumatic event.
It truly takes someone very special to run into a burning building when everyone else is fleeing, to run towards the sound of gunfire when everyone else is ducking for cover, to provide aid to the wounded at the risk of injury to yourself. Our peace officers and firefighters do this every day without seeking glory or reward for their actions.
Today, Officer Craig Tiger was honored 4 years after his death.
And even the toughest and bravest men and women can suffer PTSD as the result of a single event.
Officer Tiger used deadly force on the job. He then struggled with post-traumatic stress disorder, ending with him taking his own life. House Bill 2502, better known as the Officer Craig Tiger Act, was signed by the governor. The measure honors his service and shines a light on the invisible injury that many first responders can experience.
Officer Tiger has obviously a family like most first responders, including 2 children, Jaden and Jacob. And that's what this is really all about today, is to have kind of a final legacy for their father's service to the community and the price that family has borne.
We all don't want our loved ones to be forgotten. He served the city of Phoenix, and now finally he's being recognized, but with this bill being named after him, and his name will never be forgotten because he will forever be part of Arizona state law. And that is huge to myself and my children, our children.
The bill provides additional treatment for first responders diagnosed with PTSD. Some benefits include 36 days of additional treatment and 30 additional days of compensated leave time.
One of the things that came as a direct result of Officer Tiger's suicide and tragedy was the fact that we used to give 3 days off when you're involved in a lethal force encounter. Now they give you 30 days to kind of unwind. You're still allowed to come to work, but you're kind of taken offline.
And with this bill now, our hope is that it won't get that far, that we won't lose another first responder to an injury that is treatable.
In Phoenix, Amanda Mason, Cronkite News.
Many of us know someone who struggles with mental illness. They could be a friend or a family member. But what happens when there's a crisis situation with that person? Reporter Jordan Daphnis attended a forum with the Scottsdale Police Department to learn about how to prepare.
The main message from the police, as well as the National Alliance of Mental Illness, put together a mental health crisis plan before you need it and understand the consequences of calling 911.
So we want people to be very clear on when you call the police, you call 911, essentially what you're saying is we've lost control.
And Officer Dan Antrim wants people to know what they can expect from police.
Maybe they want us just to educate their son or talk to their grandfather. And we find out when we're there that no, things have happened, specifically in the case of domestic violence where there's been some sort of violence occurred, we have to arrest people.
Having a plan can help diffuse a situation before it escalates to calling 911. Some questions to discuss include, what kind of support should we seek when you are having a bad day? What action should we take if we feel the bad situation is escalating? And in what circumstances should our plan include calling 911? Natalie Summit is the intervention specialist for Scottsdale PD. She says it's important for people to be open to talking about mental health issues.
Stigma is what keeps people from getting help. And we can break that barrier of stigma about mental illness and addiction if we bring it out into the open and we talk about it, we plan for it, and we treat it with sensitivity.
Margaret Burkhardt says she's been diagnosed with a mental illness herself, and it's good to know that the police are receiving training and making an effort to understand mental health issues.
So it's a disease, in essence, something that can't be controlled. And I think the police officers are recognizing that and respecting the situation.
45% of the Scottsdale Police Department has gone through crisis intervention training. So you can ask for a CIT officer if you're calling 911 due to a mental health emergency. Those officers may not be available in all cities. Again, having that plan in place and calling the police only when completely necessary is what they advise. In the Broadcast Center, Jordan Daphnis, Cronkite News.
Phoenix police shootings are on the rise this year. Already more than a dozen people have died in officer-involved shootings. Allison Snell reports the police chief wants to spend more money to study why there's been an increase and how to ensure the safety of officers and the public.
In the last 6 months, the number of Phoenix police officer-involved deaths is the same as all of 2017. With this increase, the Public Safety Subcommittee asked the City Council for funding on a research study.
I mean, it's super simple. Just stop killing us. That's really all that we want, is to live another day. That's it. You know, we all want to go home to our families too.
Attendees of the public safety meeting are demanding officials hear what they have to say.
We are at record numbers of officer-involved shootings, whether that individual survives that contact or dies because of that contact.
We have the greatest lethality of any police department in the country. Phoenix PD has just shot their 25th person year to date. NYPD shot 2 year to date. And with 4 times the population, this is nonsense. It's time for it to end.
That number has increased by 4 since April in the New York area, according to a database by the Washington Post.
The chief doesn't want to have to talk about what her officers are doing on a daily basis. The chief doesn't want that to be public because the chief has no intention of holding her officers accountable.
The Safety Subcommittee discusses a survey to get more on why this is happening.
We know those numbers already, right? We know we came with those numbers.
This report will do nothing to change the culture of police violence.
City Councilwoman Laura Pastor explains she wants to know more.
What is truly the stresses that is happening within our community that is causing the reaction on both sides?
The Phoenix Police Department says their top priority is the safety of both their officers as well as the community. The study will cost $149,000 and last 6 months before the findings will be released. In Phoenix, Allison Snell, Cronkite News.
Scammers who target seniors use all kinds of ploys to get them to share personal information or send money over the phone. But there's a new legislation to help fight fraud. Reporter Amanda Mason attended a workshop on keeping our seniors safe.
I spoke with IRS Special Agent Ismael Navarez Jr. about the new Senior Safe Act, which was passed into law just last month. And it helps protect seniors from growing threats, financial fraud, abuse, and it also helps catch those financial scammers before they do harm.
Notification call to inform you that there is an arrest warrant issued against your name and your identity.
This is an example of a potential fraud robocall that can be received by thousands of people every day. A national study by TrueLink Financial found that seniors lose more than $36 billion a year to financial abuse. Here in Arizona, 30 to 40% of seniors who are abused is a result from financial exploitation, according to the Arizona Attorney General's office.
Unfortunately, many seniors are very trusting because most of us grew up in an era where it was more common to trust than not to trust.
Tom Miller, who is a retired naval officer, is concerned about identity theft, which is why he attended this workshop.
I'm overly cautious, very careful, shred most everything. That's just my nature.
IRS Special Agent Ismael Navarez Jr. says senior citizens are victims of phone and internet scams asking for their social security number or money.
They use strong-arm tactics over the telephone. They threaten senior citizens over the telephone with providing their personal information. And we've been working very closely with all law enforcement, federal, state, and local, and with legislative officials to combat these types of, fraudulent phone calls and internet scams.
The Senior Safe Act law encourages individuals and financial institutions to report suspected fraud and helps law enforcement to track down criminals who target seniors.
To ensure everyone take active steps to protect their information from theft. If you're on social media, do so in a responsible way. Make sure you don't provide your information to anyone that you don't know who they are, and especially over the telephone. Don't provide your name and social security number, your date of birth to someone you don't know, and you don't know the reason why they're asking for that information. If you don't know them, don't provide it.
And experts also say that if you receive a phone call and you don't know who's on the other line, just hang up. Other ways to protect yourself from identity theft is to make sure that you do not post any personal information on social media, which is like your driver's license or any other information of that sort. Now, also, don't post when you're going on family vacation. On the digital desk, Amanda Mason, Cronkite News.
Auto burglaries have become increasingly common in the Valley, and now the state is taking action to prevent these numbers from getting any higher. Our reporter Nicole Costantino gives us a look at the new routines state agencies are promoting to ensure you're not the next victim.
Law enforcement here in Arizona want to make sure this doesn't happen to you. That's why the Arizona Automobile Theft Authority is rolling out the new 9 p.m. routine, a nightly reminder to ensure the safety of your home and your vehicle, something AATA Director Fred Zumbo saw start in Florida and decided to bring here to Arizona.
What we want our folks to do at night is to go out and check their exterior of their homes, make sure everything is secure, and to check their vehicles, to make sure their vehicles don't have their garage door openers inside while they're parked outside, that there are no weapons inside the vehicle, that there are no valuables inside the vehicle like laptops or electronic devices.
The Peoria Police Department has also jumped on board with their own auto burglary campaign called Take, Remove, Lock, encouraging those to take the keys out of their car, remove any valuables, and lock your doors.
If you think about it, a criminal is not going to just walk up to a car. If they don't see anything in it, they're not going to be like, I'm going to break that window and go in.
Peoria Police spokesman Brandon Sheffert says it's simple, quick decisions that can determine if you're the next victim.
Now, if they walk up and see, an iPhone or a purse, they're going to be more likely to want to break into that car because it's easy and it's quick. And once they get that, it can be a nightmare for that person to have to fix all those things.
We need to take responsibility and protect our own valuables and our own weapons and firearms so that they're not taken and used against other people.
In Phoenix, Nicole Costantino, Cronkite News.
The AATA says you can take some preventative measures like getting your vehicle identification number etched in your window, making it less valuable to thieves trying to steal it.
I'm Ted Simons, host and managing editor of Arizona Horizon. The 2018 election season has arrived. Join us for primary and general election debates. Right here, meet the candidates and hear their positions. Arizona Horizon, your source for what matters most this election season. Only on Arizona PBS.
According to the Pew Research Center, it's estimated that there are around 300,000 guns owned in the United States. Not all of them are registered, and that's about one gun for every man, woman, and child. While men own the majority of firearms, statistics are growing for women. Across the country, it's estimated that 22% of women own a gun, and their average age for first owning a gun is 27 years old. The Pew Research Center reports about 50% of women in the United States have fired a gun.
1 in 5 active gun permits in Arizona are registered to women. Reporter Jordan Daphnis went to a women's gun class at Scottsdale Gun Club to see what's making women decide to own firearms.
According to the Arizona Department of Public Safety, the number of concealed weapon applications doubled from more than 50,000 in 2016 to more than 100,000 in 2017. Some of those new owners never thought they would buy a gun.
Early 2000, I received a phone call from a doctor, called me at work and told me I had cancer, and basically told me I had about a year and I needed to figure out and plan what I was going to do. So once I got through being hysterical, I did what I always did and I went shopping. This time, instead of shoes, I came home with a Glock 19 and a Harley.
Trisha Dennett is not your average shooting instructor.
I didn't come into shooting until later. I was the ultimate prissy little girl, and my standard line is, you're going to see me fall off my tennis shoes at some point in class.
When she shot down her cancer diagnosis, Dennett locked and loaded her passion.
A year later, when I got through all of this crud and proved him wrong, I showed up at a range and I happened to walk into a USPSA competition match and went, this looks really cool. I want to try this.
Now she's teaching women who want to try it themselves.
You're afraid of stuff that you don't know. So once you take this class, it becomes less fearful.
To Dennett, this class is about more than just guns.
My goal in teaching women how to shoot is not so much teaching them to shoot, is be self-aware. Know the situation that you're in, know how to handle yourself, and in the meantime, you learn a skill that can help protect you.
Dennett says owning a gun isn't the same as being trained to use it. Statistics show without training, it's more likely to be used against you by an attacker. In the broadcast center, Jordan Daphnis, Cronkite News.
It's an interactive seminar that could help save a life. The Be Safe workshop, hosted by the Autism Society of Greater Phoenix and the Autism Coalition, is designed to build a relationship between law enforcement and those with developmental disabilities. Reporter Jordan Daphnis went to the class to learn more about the issues being addressed.
For all parents, keeping their children safe is a top priority. For parents of kids with developmental disabilities, this task can be a bit more difficult. The Be Safe workshop is easing some of that difficulty.
As a parent, I thought I need to prepare my boys so that if they were ever in contact with a police officer, not only would they know what to do, but so that they can get to understand that they are a friendly type of officer.
The kids play games with officers and get to ask law enforcement as many questions as they want. That way they feel more comfortable if they ever end up in a police encounter.
The feedback that I get from all of law enforcement is they think that this curriculum is fantastic, and they love that they can interact with the community and we can build relationships.
The workshop is designed to be proactive instead of reactive.
To help individuals on the intellectual and developmental disabilities, the autism spectrum, learn how to deal with issues and problems as they arise and empower them. We haven't empowered our population enough, and this empowers them and helps them work with the police.
Having clear instructions can help people with developmental disabilities.
Some individuals on the spectrum are very task-oriented and step-oriented, and so I want my boys to learn those steps.
Having a plan before an incident can make a huge difference for anyone, especially someone with developmental disabilities.
I think any of us, right, we practice fire drills and we know what to expect when a smoke alarm goes off, and in a building we know what the path is. And so having that opportunity just to in a safe space where adrenaline is low, understand.
It is not uncommon for kids on the autism spectrum to wander away. The Autism Association encourages parents to call 911 right away if they are unable to locate their child. Effective August 3rd, the Silver Alert will also include alerts for children who wander away due to developmental disabilities. In the Broadcast Center, Jordan Daphnis, Cronkite News.
So you want to be a police officer? Well, you better make sure you're in excellent shape.
Reporter Jordan Daphnis went to the Phoenix Police Academy to find out why 45% of applicants do not pass the fitness agility testing.
While 85% of Phoenix Police Department applicants pass the written test, out of those, only 65% pass the physical test. I took an in-depth look at the physical agility test to see why people are having so much trouble. Running, push-ups, sit-ups, and jumping over a wall. These are all requirements of the Phoenix Police Department's physical agility assessment.
Don't forget your bracelet.
And the physical testing requirements are just the bare minimum of what officers have to do while in the academy and on the job. To some, it may not seem like a challenge, but to others, this physical assessment can feel like a roadblock. And that's not good because the department needs more officers.
Just trying to fill those gaps that we haven't hired since 2009, 2015, we started hiring again. So we're just trying to fill those holes.
They are looking to hire 325 this year alone. Applicant Kayla Jonigan has wanted to be a police officer since high school. Before she started the fitness testing, she shared what portion of the test she was most nervous about.
And sit-ups are not my friend, but I'm hoping that extra adrenaline's gonna kick in for me.
The department is hoping it works out too. Recruiter McLeod says the department is willing to work with applicants who don't pass the first time.
We want good applicants. Even though you may not make the physical requirements the first time, we're giving you an opportunity to take the physical fitness test as many times as you need to be successful.
Phoenix Police Department hasn't adjusted the standards of the test to allow more applicants to pass, but they do host weekly conditioning classes so applicants can practice, and they are able to take the test as many times as they need. In the broadcast center, Jordan Daphnis, Cronkite News.
Only about 4% of firefighters across the country are women, but that's going to change. Cronkite News reporter Kevin Fleischman takes us to a camp igniting girls into future firefighters.
Nicole, despite the summer heat, the students in the Goodyear Fire Academy were exercising, putting on turnout gear, and climbing ladders, all to learn what it takes to become a firefighter.
I hope to meet some female firefighters that kind of draw me in the right direction, and I'm really hoping to get a hands-on experience and to see what I want to do in the future, and just to make sure that this is really what I want to do.
Tatum Kramer is one of 17 high school girls learning what it takes to become a firefighter. This year marks Goodyear's 4th annual Girls High School Camp. Laura Davis, who started the camp, has been a firefighter and EMT for the past 12 years. She says the camp not only teaches about the demands of working in the fire service, but it provides life skills for whatever career these young women choose.
It's also just about building confidence and showing these girls that there's other things out there that they can probably do a lot more than they ever thought they could.
During the week-long camp, the young women will learn different drills and exercises. Some of those include learning how to climb the fire ladder and using the equipment. To encourage more women to become firefighters, Davis says more departments should have camps like this one.
I didn't even really consider this as a career when I was their age, so I would have loved to do something like this when I was in high school. So I think things like these are what's really going to help get the word out and get girls to be able to even just be exposed to those opportunities.
Kramer says she is nervous about climbing the ladder for the first time, but knows they wouldn't set her up to fail.
I'm nervous, but I know that I have a lot of trust in the truck and a lot of trust in the person that's going to be behind me, so I know everything will be fine.
And that trust may help her continue on the path to becoming a first responder.
I want to try to join the cadet program. I maybe want to do an EMT, go on an ambulance for a little bit, get a degree in fire science, probably up at the college in Flagstaff.
Now 17 high school students attended this year's camp, and the fire department hopes to one day be able to hire some of these girls full-time. In the broadcast center, Kevin Fleischman, Cronkite News.
For 1 week every year, teenagers are given the opportunity to see if they have what it takes to be a first responder. Scottsdale Fire and Police Departments provide an inside look at their jobs. Reporter Emily Richardson attended the Public Safety Teen Academy's fire drill training.
This academy has been such an amazing experience, and I recommend it to everyone who's interested.
While most teenagers are sleeping in during their summer vacation, a handful here in the Valley are completing training drills designed for firefighters and police officers. This academy gives teenagers a chance to learn hands-on what it's like to be a first responder. And today, they got to run into a smoke-filled building.
It's really fun. You go in there with a partner. You suit up in the whole entire suit, and then you go through the building, and there's smoke, and you can't really see, and you're following the hose line. And you have to find a baby or a victim inside.
The teens then get a chance to climb up a 30-foot ladder, put out a fire with a fire extinguisher, ride in the fire truck, and man a fire hose. And while they love the hands-on activities, recruits say their favorite part is the relationship they make with their fellow classmates.
My favorite part is seeing everybody pick each other up in my squad.
Bonding with my instructors and my junior RTO, and also my recruits, just because I get a feel for who I'm leading as a recruit leader and squad leader.
In Tempe, Emily Richardson, Cronkite News.
The recruits say that learning what public safety officers go through on a day-to-day basis gives them a better respect for firefighters and police officers.
The Maricopa County Sheriff's Office is using summer vacation to give young adults a behind-the-scenes look at law enforcement. Reporter Kevin Fleischman attended the county's Explorer program.
It's definitely physically and mentally challenging, especially all the small things, because that's something they focus on the most.
Friday marks the end of the Maricopa Sheriff's second Explorer program, which teaches young adults the ins and outs of law enforcement. Many of these cadets are still in school and hope once they graduate to start a career in law enforcement.
I'm looking at joining the Marine Corps, which after my father, and then I'd like to go to college after that and probably pursue a career in law enforcement.
Hinsberg says that being in the Explorer program is a unique experience. Today, the cadets learn how to dust for fingerprints and the importance of DNA samples. Class Sergeant Jesus Jerez says that getting the youth involved is important because it creates lifelong interest in law enforcement.
Let's get them while they want it and show them what it takes to become it and give them a little bit of taste of what they could get, and that establishes some kind of accountability, integrity, and what they want to do so that they can be successful.
And while the training process can be hard, Hinsberg says it helped create a bond with his fellow cadets.
We've all become very close since we're all in the same boat and all plan to help each other.
We set their goals to where they can be successful, so when they leave this program, they leave with that confidence that when they set their mind to something, they can accomplish anything.
After graduating, the cadets have weekly meetings with their training officers to continue their learning process. In Phoenix, Kevin Fleischman, Cronkite News.
The Sheriff's Office has created other programs as well to help show the public what it's like to be a public safety officer. Thanks for joining us for this special edition of Cronkite News. For top Arizona stories anytime, go to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.